Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today's deck is a doozy. This is one that I've been meaning to get to for quite a while, and we're just a couple weeks out from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and it seems like the perfect time to get to it. This one's called SKELECHANT, and the idea here is we're taking good old Selesnya enchantment synergies, Hallowed Haunting and things like that, Jukai Naturalist, and we're cross-pollinating them with a couple of black enchantments that make skeleton tokens, because there are some really interesting cross-pollinating strategies and synergies that we're actually able to utilize in this deck that make it kind of unreal. We have almost a 90% win rate with this deck right now, and it's kind of crazy. It comes out of nowhere and just gets wins. And we have some really interesting ways of using synergies that affect the skeleton tokens as well as all of our enchantment synergies, which is really interesting. But before we break down the deck, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons over at patreon.com/quarantinecapricorn. That's Kaylin and Hector at the Brew Crew Elite tier, and then our forever CPU savior, Terrence Rohrbach. You guys are the lifeblood of everything I do. Thank you so much for your support. It honestly means more than I can put into words. Also, make sure you make sure you subscribe. If you're new and you find any value in this video, I would love for you to be a part of the community. I'd love for you to subscribe and be a part of everything we have going on over here. But also, the like button, most important of all, because that's going to help this video get out to so many more people. And I'm just, I would appreciate that more than I can literally express with words. So it only takes a second. Hit the like. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. This deck is wild. Catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Let's take a look at SKELECHANT. Quick reminder, I have a ton of content for spoilers for Outlaws of Thunder Junction on the channel, so I'm going to link that up above and down below so you guys can check that out. Cards are wild. We've thought of some really cool ways of using them that I don't think a lot of people have thought of, so check that stuff out. Now let's talk about the deck. Alright, so the core of the deck here revolves around typical enchantment synergies that we've seen in Selesnya enchantments, but there are a few key additions. We'll go over the entire deck starting at the bottom of the curve in just a moment, but I want to go over the important new additions to the deck that brings it into 𝑘𝒊𝒏𝒓𝒂𝒕. So, 4 Corpses of the Lost, 1 black and 2 for an enchantment. Skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste, and when Corpses of the Lost enters the battlefield, you make a 2/2 skeleton. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you can pay a life and return Corpses of the Lost to your hand. So there's a few different synergies here. Now, obviously the core of the deck revolves around Hallowed Haunting, right? 4 mana enchantment. When it's on the battlefield, every time you play an enchantment, it makes a spirit token that's going to have power and toughness equal to the number of spirit tokens, so they grow exponentially. And then when you have 7 or more enchantments on the field, all of your creatures get flying and vigilance. So when we're playing Corpses of the Lost, we're going to be able to use it to trigger our Hallowed Haunting and also make a skeleton token that's going to have haste. But there's a couple key things I want to point out. First of all, you get to return it to your hand whenever you descend, which is really, really good, because if it goes back to your hand, you can just recast it to re-trigger the Hallowed Haunting and get more triggers, especially when you're out of gas in the late game. And it doesn't really slow you down too much, since the skeleton that you're making is going to have haste anyway, so it's just going to add even more board presence that can immediately put pressure on the opponent. The other thing worth noting is, because everything in the deck is in the form of an enchantment for Hallowed Haunting, descending only counts permanents that go to your graveyard, and you're way more likely to be putting permanents into your graveyard because that's pretty much all we have in the deck. So there are multiple ways in which this synergizes really well, and even though it doesn't create spirit tokens to go alongside the spirits you're making with Hallowed Haunting, it does make a token creature, and since both of those make token creatures, we have a little bit of extra gas in this deck that gets turned up to 11 based off of token creatures, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we also have Case of the Stash Skeleton. For 2 mana, comes down, makes a 2/1 skeleton token with Menace. Granted, it can't block, but we shouldn't need to in this deck. Whenever we control no suspected skeletons, it becomes solved, and then we can sack it to search for any card we want. So the idea that we're putting this 10 turn clock on the board that as soon as they do deal with it, we get a free tutor, is pretty wild in this deck when you consider the fact that the Case of the Stashed Skeleton is going to trigger the Hallowed Haunting on its own. As well as both of these being enchantments, we've got some other enchantment synergies that go alongside them as well. So this is a way for us to get just the right enchantment that we need later in the game to just go over the top and win the game, and it can get kind of gnarly. We're also running Case of the Gateway Express as another new card. 1 white and 1. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature you don't control. Each creature you do control deals 1 damage to that creature. So almost everything in the deck is a creature or makes a creature, and can also trigger the Hallowed Haunting to make even more creatures. So it's super easy to go wide and make this into a removal that can hit pretty much anything. But then if we attack with 3 or more creatures, which again in this deck is super easy because of all the tokens, we solve it, and then once it's solved, all of our creatures get an additional +1 attack. So that's super effective in this deck too. So those are the new cards. Let's go back to the bottom of the curve and we'll talk about the rest of the deck. So first of all, we're obviously running 4 Jukai Naturalist. This is the reason we also want to run green, because it's going to reduce the cost of all of our enchantments, which means Corpse of the Lost becomes 2 mana, Case of the Stashed Skeleton and Case of the Gateway Express become 1 mana for either of them. And that just gets really, really nutty, along with the rest of the enchantments in the deck, right? But it also gives us some lifelink, gives us a way to help pad out our life total against aggro, which is really nice. We've got 4 Weaver of Harmony, which will buff up all of our enchantment creatures. Granted, the spirits and the skeletons are not enchantment creatures, but it does add a little bit of value to some of our other creatures in that respect. But we really want this because of the tap ability. 1 green, tap it, copy any activated or triggered ability from an enchantment source. That's already going to be good for copying Hallowed Haunting triggers and some of the other enchantment shenanigans that we have going on in the deck that are standard for Selesnya enchantments. But in addition, we can copy a Corpses of the Lost trigger to get 2 skeleton tokens, or we can copy a Case of the Stashed Skeleton trigger for 2. We can also copy the Gateway Express to get 2 things dead instead of 1. So a lot of cool things we can do with Weaver of Harmony. Another one that's pretty standard is Spirited Companion, right? We can play this on 2 as an enchantment. It will be able to trigger a Hallowed Haunting if we have it later. But on curve, we can play it on 2, draw a card, and if we happen to play it on turn 3 after a Weaver of Harmony, we can use the Weaver's ability to pay an extra mana and draw an extra card, which is really nice. We've also got Invasion of Gobakhan, which isn't an enchantment in and of itself, but it will come into play against control, get rid of a key card that we need to get rid of out of their hand, and delay it to a turn where we're not worried about it anymore. And then it sits on the field, and because we go wide with tokens that it's pretty easy to swing in with, it's very easy to just do the 3 damage to this and flip it. And what's important to note is when we flip it, we get to cast an enchantment for free. So that's a free way to play this Light Shield Array, get a trigger off Hallowed Haunting without paying any mana whatsoever. And not only that, then we have Light Shield Array sitting on the battlefield, buffing up all of our attackers with +1/+1 counters every turn, and protecting our board with the hexproof and indestructibility. So it's just super good in this deck. And then we also have 4 copies of Machiko's Reign of Truth, because sometimes we can just Alpha Strike for the win with it. And it's pretty crazy when it goes off. We go so wide with enchantments that being able to buff up, you know, even maybe our Menace Skeleton token if they only have 1 blocker, and then just getting in there can be a huge swing. So Machiko's Reign of Truth is great, and then it's also just going to give us a big creature later in the game as well when it flips. So that's pretty cool. Moving on to our 3-drop slots, obviously we already talked about the Corpses of the Lost, but we also have 1 Calix Guided by Fate. Too good to not include in the deck. We are just going to run the 1 copy because the deck is just way too jammed with stuff and it's hard to fit what we want. But you could definitely play 2 or 3 of these and I wouldn't fault you because it's just that good. When it comes into play, you're going to be able to put a counter on something. Every time you play an enchantment, you'll put a counter on something, so it's another payoff alongside Hallowed Haunting for playing enchantments. But also, if it or an enchanted creature deals damage to the opponent, you get to copy any enchantment you have in play. And in this deck, that can do so much for you. It can give you more removal with Case of the Gateway Express. It can give you another potential tutor with the Stashed Skeleton. It can give you another copy of Hallowed Haunting. it can do a lot. Like I said, if there was one card in the deck I wish we could include more of, and that I wouldn't fault you for making room for more of, it would be Calix, Guided by Fate, because he's just insane. But he is legendary, so we're going with one for this build. And then also, because it's legendary, one Katilda here, which can just be a giant creature, giant flying, life-linking protection from vampires creature because of all of the enchantments that we go wide with. Not to mention spirits. All of the spirits that we make with Hallowed Haunting also buff up Katilda. But then if they kill Katilda, it can just come back for 5 mana as the enchantment. Just enchant something else, basically turn it into a Katilda, so it's really hard to get rid of. And then it also gets us, you know, enchantment trigger when we replay it as Katilda's Rising Dawn. So definitely deserves at least a 1-of slot in the deck. And then moving on, we've already talked about the 4 Hallowed Hauntings. The one last card that we have at the top end that's pretty expensive is 1 Invasion of Tolvada. This is another card I'd like to be able to fit more copies of, because it's just really good. Now, the front side of this isn't as good in this deck as it is in others, because everything in the deck costs less than 5, so you're not really getting your mana's worth when you pull something out of the graveyard, but still getting that card selection of slam Invasion of Tolvada for 5 mana, and anything that you need, whatever ends up being the best thing for your current board state or matchup that you need back from the graveyard, you can just get back with the Invasion of Tolvada. But the real value here comes when you complete this battle and get to play it as the Broken Sky as an enchantment for free. It will trigger all of your enchantment triggers, again, just like the Invasion of Gobakhan does. But then it comes down, gives all of your creature tokens +1/+0 and lifelink. This is that cross-pollinating synergy I was talking about earlier in the deck tech, where not only will all of your spirit tokens get that buff, but all of your skeleton tokens will get that buff as well. So the +1/+0 is really nice, but the lifelink is what makes it insane. All of your token creatures having lifelink now is just nuts. And add into that the fact that at your end step, you're making another token for free every single turn that is a spirit, that combines with your spirit synergies, and has flying, is just bananas. I'm super tempted to go up to 2 on this, but at the same time, it is expensive. It doesn't get the cost reduction from Jukai Naturalist. So I feel like, at least for this iteration, I felt like 1 was right. But again, if I could increase the count on any of these cards, I would love to go up to 2 Invasion of Tolvada. I'd love to go up to 2 or 3 Calixes, but it's just really hard to fit everything. The mana is pretty standard. We've got 1 Restless Prairie because we go so wide with tokens that the buff it can give is pretty nice, and it's nice to have at least 1 manland in your deck in case you're up against a control deck. It gives you a way to swing in every turn that they can't deal with sorcery speed removal, right? So that's really nice. And then we've got a whole bunch of dual lands, 4 Razorverge Thicket, 2 Farmlands, 1 Waste, 2 Glade, 2 Shattered Sanctum, 3 Caves of Koilos. We've got the 1 beside you. We've got 1 Plains to search up if they have land destruction. We've got 1 Eiganjo. We have to keep our white mana as high as possible, so the way we split our mana is very, very important. But then we're also running 3 Shadowy Backstreet, and this was a very late inclusion that I realized was going to be somewhat better in this deck, because the Surveil 1, if we draw the land later in the game, it allows us to basically put something in the yard and trigger the Descend for Corpses of the Lost. So instead of just drawing a land that would only be a land, if we happen to get lucky enough to draw this land later in the game, when we're out of gas, when we need something to trigger our Hallowed Haunting, it can actually return our Corpses of the Lost, maybe even 2 of them, to our hand so that we can recast them, get the extra pressure on the board from the skeletons and the spirits we'll make off the Hallowed Haunting, and hopefully that will be enough to seal the game. So it's nice to have these 3 lands that can just happen to surveil if we get them at the right time later in the game. But we have to be careful not to go too crazy with those kinds of lands, because we want to curve out effectively, and we have to keep our tapped lands to a minimum, which is why the lands that we actually chose in the final land count, that's why they are what they are. But deck's super fun. I'm super excited to see if we can iterate on this when Outlaws comes out, because there is a lot of skeleton tribal support in that set. And it's just a super fun deck, and it's got a super high win rate, almost 90%, which is just kind of like blowing my mind. Granted, we're not super far into the ladder. I don't remember exactly where we were at when we got these games, but it was right after the reset, so we're not like super far up the ladder yet. But still, even so, you know, we were playing some pretty solid decks and still just smashing everything, which was pretty awesome. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up. We're gonna check out the games, so let's get to it. Alright, we're gonna keep 7. It is what it is. My camera will readjust eventually. Caves of Koilos. Look at that. Caves of Koilos. We're gonna play Invasion of Gobakhan. See what we can hit here. Stormseeker for sure. Now he's got nothing he can do for quite a while. Deathcap Glade. We'll go Naturalist. We could Case of the 𝑘𝒊𝒂𝒕𝒆. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's more important as removal. Two cards that we haven't seen. Another one. Skelly boys coming in. We'll swing. We'll flip Gobakhan. And we'll end the turn. We need more white mana. We got 2 lands that don't produce white. There are only 5 in the whole deck that don't produce white. Maybe we need to get that number down. Alright, he finally plays a Reckless Stormseeker. Alright, my turn. Hallowed Haunting. And Case of the 𝐾𝒊𝒂𝒕𝒆. Goodbye. And we'll swing. Next to damage. End the turn, they all get counters. We solve the case. Oh god. Next turn is going to be brutal. This deck is bananas already. Granted, we shut down our opponent pretty early, but still. You toast, buddy. Wouldn't even let us finish. Alright, we don't have any green here. But I think it's too good to toss back. I think we just have to surveil on 1. And then hope that we can dig to a green. We're not stopping until we get to green mana. Later, Bradley. Bradley? Bradley. I think it's Bradley. Thanks for hanging out. Mandarin Tang. Yeah, Gods was very, very kind earlier. Gifted some subs. Alright, Case of the Stashed Skeleton is solved. Which means maybe we use it to find a green mana.
I could sneak right by,
That'd be kind of funny.
but there's no secret I can't uncover.
That would be kind of funny. I think we're doing it. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Let's rock!
Alright, so now we have green for next turn. We can play Naturalist into Case if he makes a 1/1.
What do we have here?
Thank you, Mandarin. We're doing the damn thing.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Yeah, that new Alien movie's gonna be so good. I can't wait. I can't wait. Alright, we're gonna need the green, so we're just gonna do that, and we're gonna pass. Maybe we should have just played the Sanctum and played Hallowed Haunting and not played the Naturalist. But it's okay. We'll get a go for the throw out of their hand. Yeah, I'm so excited for the new Alien movie. It looks like it's finally going back to its roots and being an actual Alien movie. It looks so good. Roadhouse was good. I mean, it wasn't better than the original. There's just a certain something, you know? But it was better than I expected it to be. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed that one. Alright, we're going to play the Naturalist. And then we're going to play the Haunting. We'll see what we can do next turn. We just play everything, right? Does have a Teferi down, though. It's going to be difficult. Yeah, that should be pretty cool, Rob. I agree with you there. I'm really looking forward to that new movie, Civil War. It's not sci-fi, granted, and sci-fi is my favorite, but it still looks really cool. No blocks. Silcho, Blanco. Did you kill my Naturalist, you jerk? This guy's an asshole.
I know
Don't let
something.
me do anything. You stop doing things. Alright, we're going to start with the companion, see what we can draw. We need to go super wide so that this Case can actually kill the token. Which is going to be tricky. Gobakhan's coming down next in case he has a counter spell. We want to leave 2 mana up. Here, cans of spam. Alright, Gobakhan comes down. We'll get something removed here. Well then. Exile the expensive thing. I mean, we just gotta get the removal out of his hand, right? At this point. He's gonna kill the Weaver. But we have to force it. Just power through it. I need protection for my cans. I'm okay. I'm here for it. I can live a hermit lifestyle off the grid. The only thing I'd miss is streaming with you guys. Swinging for 7. We're just gonna let it through. We might have to block next turn, but we're holding off. We want to try to flip the Gobakhan by hitting it with just one creature if we can. Problem is, if he holds up that hero's downfall, then he can just kill the one thing that swings at it.
There's no secret I can't uncover.
Plays the virtue of persistence. Good God. Well, we're playing this no matter what. And then Case is going to do 5 damage to that thing. So now we kill Teferi. Or we flip our Gobakhan. Or we kill his token. And all of those things are acceptable. We get another token off free casting the Light Shield Array. We'll end the turn. We solve the case. Light Shield Array goes off. We can probably Alpha Strike for the win next turn. We can use Light Shield Array to protect our board. You need social interaction, fair.
Knowledge.
I've always been weird. I'm an outgoing
Thanks.
introvert,
I'll be taking that now.
which is very bizarre. So like, what I mean by an introvert is I feel like it drains energy from me to be socially active, to have social interactions. And I feel like I recharge my batteries by being alone, having my alone time. Recharge my batteries so that I can go back at it again and have more social interactions. But when I am having those social interactions, I enjoy it. I tend to be like a life of the party kind of guy. I host concert events in addition to doing streaming, so that's just kind of the lifestyle. How wide can we go? I can destroy an enchantment. Don't want to just destroy a blocker right now. Just do it. The old 2-for-1 special. Some people are extroverts. And all that means is you feel like you recharge your batteries when you're around people. Being around people like energizes you. And then being alone drains you. You can only be alone for so long before you just feel like you're completely on empty. Hero's Downfall. Light Shield Array. Does he have a 4-mana instant speed sweeper now? And that was a trick. Maybe. So he's only taking 15 and he's not dead. Alright. Okay.
Who's that handsome devil?
Now, what do we
It
have?
was going to be lethal. But he had multiple tricks. Still not enough though. I think we got him. Most possible. What do we bring back? Probably Spirited Companion, right? Just to get extra triggers and draw cards that we can maybe play. Now, you have to cast an enchantment spell. So we're not going to trigger Hallowed Haunting with this. And that's a very important distinction. So we definitely need to draw so that we can hopefully get something to cast. Oh, 1 mana off. So he only needs 1 removal spell to stop us, right? Don't like that. Yeah, we're gonna draw the game out. Seems kind of crazy, but I think we have so much value going into next turn. And if he's got an instant speed removal spell, he survives the alpha strikes, so I don't want to take that chance. Just gonna let Kaito die. I knew it.
You almost stopped me that time.
I knew it.
Nobody knows the past better than me.
Thanks. I'll be taking that now.
Spirit. Spirit. Two Virtue of Persistences, and you have Italian in the graveyard. I think we win. I think we win, though. I think this is a lot, and I think we win. In the air. And smash a dash a do. Smash a dash a do. Good game. Good game, friend. It's like Yabba Dabba Do, except with smashes. We do smashes over here. Alright, we're gonna keep this. We're gonna surveil. Ooh. No, we're gonna keep that on top. Gobakhan. That's rude. That's so rude. Who Gobakhans, you know? For real. Oh, it's that angel. We'll take our chances. I knew you wouldn't trade. It's the 4-power angel, the lifelinker. The one that can eat stuff. So much Goba, so much Khan. Have you ever Goba'd? Have you ever conned? Holy schmoly. Take 10. Double Corpses of the Lost is pretty good. Is there any way to copy an enchantment in standard right now? Because that would be a thing, guys. That would be a thing. I would like to do said thing. Well, I think we can cast everything, which is crazy. We'll descend so that we can get our Corpses of the Lost back at end of turn. We'll play Calix. Then we'll play you. No! I used the wrong mana! Now I can't Machiko's Reign of Truth. That's sad. If I could have Machiko's Reign of Truth, the Menace guy, that would have been game. I needed to use this for black. Auto Tapper dodged it. It's alive at 2. I think we keep one down. No, you know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. Because if he doesn't kill the Naturalist, we can cast everything. And if he does kill the Naturalist, we're going to need as much card advantage as we can to make up for it. So both scenarios, it's going to be better in our hand. That's fine. What are you doing? You're out of your gourd. It's actually better to do this, isn't it? And you're at 1. 1! The next turn. Next turn's it. Come on. Next turn is it. I don't even care how many angels you got. We're still gonna have lethal, right? We've gotta. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. We can play everything. And we're going to. Holy schmoly. Hello. Hi. Hi there. Hello there. I guess winning makes me sneeze. What? What? Why didn't he just double block? No black mana. 2 Machikos Reign of Truth, which we don't want until later. We're gonna have to mully this. This looks good though. We're gonna keep this. I think we're actually gonna toss back the Hallowed Haunting. Just in case. Lead with the Backstreet. You know what? I'll keep the Companion. Phoenix Chick. Alright, do we Gobakhan or do we Spirited Companion? I think we Spirited Companion first. Oh god. That's a lot of Spirited Companions. Epicure. Oh, he's stuck on land, guys. Well, that wasn't a real game. 1 land. 1 land. Hey, there we go. All slow lands. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Clearly, this is what we want. Hello. Oh, another slow land. Alright, I think we've hit that point where the algorithm hates us and wants to make us start losing. Another slow land. Wow. Algorithm is so fair. So bold. Come on, Gideon. Show me what you've got. Lots of choices. Think we do this to start. 3-2 Hasty Boy. Yeah, we already beat 1 mono red. And then, if you want to count that last game, but that wasn't even really a game, they were stuck on 1 and then scooped, right? Destroy? My corpse is lost. Interesting. You will swing. Next turn we'll get to play Gobakhan and maybe even swing in and complete it. Bad idea. Bad idea, bro. I will take 1 whopping point of damage and kill your guy. Denick. Well, we could destroy the wedding festivity with 𝑑𝒑𝒐𝒍 if we wanted. Let's get rid of you. Two, three. All right, just the one. Just the one. Sure. Goodbye. Goodbye, Norma Jean. Though I never hold yourself, nose around your floor. Seems to me you lived your life like a skelly in the wind. Oh, it's a wandering emperor.
Battle, then guided like water.
Dragon has been downed. Don't know what you mean by that. But I'll take it. I want to make a copy of something really bad, but he'll just double block it, right? Guess we just gotta do it. If he double blocks it, we get our Gobakhan and kill the Emperor. Interesting choice. It's difficult choices for him no matter what. Alright, what do we want to kill? Specifically. The bigger guy, probably? Yeah.
Back to wandering.
Take action. We're going to make a copy of a Case of the Stash skeleton. And then we're going to put a counter on the Naturalist. Sick. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Dragon has been downed. What's endgame looking like? I don't even know. Literally don't even know what you guys are talking about. I've got no dragons in this deck. There is no end game. It goes on forever. Oh, okay, okay. Is that the final boss, I assume? Because the dragon takes your heart, right? And that's like the whole point of the game. They disappear, huh? Dude, nice. Alright. Coming in hot and heavy. Coming in hot and heavy. Not blocking anything? Are you out of your mind? This dude's out of his mind. Copy you. We're gonna make another one of you. And, put a counter on you. And the turn. Yeah. That's gonna do it. My sassy snap. Yeah, close enough. We're gonna keep 7. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. You know y'all be loving this shit right here. I deserve the whistle for that. I guess we'll start with the plains. Probably playing Wastes on 2. And then Naturalist. So that we can go ham next turn. We can go Eiganjo. We're gonna have to play the companion first, I think. We need another black or green mana. Oh, never mind. There goes that plan. Alright, we'll surveil. I mean, I'm gonna keep that. I'll just play this. Might have to take some hits from the Cankerbloom, but that's fine. Because if you don't care, we don't care. Guilty pleasure. Limp Bizkit was the gateway to good music for me. I don't necessarily think that they're good music. They're a guilty pleasure that I enjoy. But good and enjoyable are two different things. We're gonna get down the Hallowed Haunting. I do legitimately like their first album, $3 Bill, y'all. That album's rad, man. Back when they were angry. Back when they had something to say, you know? Would you stop killing everything? You're mean. You're so mean. We're gonna Tolvada the Hallowed Haunting, and it's gonna be sick, guys. It's gonna be so sick. Can't believe I'm up against a Slime Against Humanity deck. We got some Menace, so we'll do a little bit of that. Cowboy, right? Yeah, good times. They're a fun band. They're a fun band, and their first record was actually meaningful to me. So it's got to count for something, right? We're gonna start by trying to draw a card here. That's definitely a thing. Let me think for a second. We're going to swing both at the Tolvada. And our opponent's going to scoop. Alright, we're going to keep this. It's a bit of a slower hand compared to normal, but just add you to the harem. You think I'm that cheap? I need commitment. Alright. Do we keep that? No, we're gonna dump it. 3 mana should be more than enough. We need stuff. Like that. That's a stuff we can use. Fortunately not until next turn, but it's what it is. So if he plays a creature, we go Naturalist, Case of the Gateway Express. There we go. If he didn't play a creature, we'd probably just play Corpse of the Lost and do the thing. Swing in 2. So, we were talking about other games earlier. Are there any other co-op games that you guys think are really good that I missed, that I didn't bring up, that you would like to play with me, that you're curious if I play, or that you'd want to get me to try to play? Going in super hard. Yeah, DDO. That game just seems so time-consuming, though. I think I'd rather play Baldur's Gate 3. I have Baldur's Gate 3 on my PS5. And I haven't touched it. I made a character just in case any of my friends or family wanted me to play with them. I would have my character ready to play, but that was it. I made my character, hit start game, watched the opening intro, and then saved, and that was it. I haven't touched it. I want to play it, but it's just like the backlog's crazy and the magic channels are the priority. Alright, we're gonna Gobakhan. Oh god. We'll get rid of the ossification at least. And then we'll corpses. And our opponent's gonna scoop. That's just too much. Neighbors. Yeah, dude, I have surround sound. It's the way to be. That's the only reason I haven't streamed any of my single player stuff yet. Is because I don't want to sit at a computer desk and play it. And I have my whole workstation here set up for Magic and for the YouTube channel and everything. And I can't switch it back and forth. But I also just don't want to have those experiences sitting close to a small screen in a chair. It's just not how I'm going to enjoy them. So when I can get the second camera, we have a Patreon stretch goal on Patreon. I'll pop up the link just in case anyone cares. But we have a Patreon stretch goal to get a better camera. And when I get the better camera, not only will the Magic streams be better quality from the better camera, but the old camera, the Logitech's, gonna go over to the living room TV, and I'll be able to start doing the after hours stream from there because I'll have it set up and not ever have to move it. Alright, we're gonna start with Overgrown Farmland. I'm working on it. Good. Alright, we're going to play Naturalist. We're up against Mono Blue, so if we can get some hits in before he gets that Haughty Djinn down, maybe gain a little life, that would be nice. Do we save Gobakhan for turn 4 in case he has a counterspell? I think maybe we do. Let's get that counterspell out of his hand, shall we? He can't afford to let the Hallowed Haunting through. I don't remember. I remember we looked up for what we needed. I think it was somewhere in like the 300-ish range. It's all on the Patreon. There's like a picture and a little blurb in the About section. The only reason I even started the Patreon, guys, was because over the summer, last summer, my computer died. There was a power surge, and I'm dumb and didn't have it. I had it in a power conditioner meant for a bass amp. Hey, thanks for the raid, John. Appreciate you greatly. Shout out to the man. But yeah, I had my computer. I had my computer plugged into a power conditioner meant for a bass amp, and we had a power surge, and it wasn't enough. So I fried my motherboard and my CPU. I only barely had enough money to buy a new motherboard and not a CPU. So I was like, I don't know what to do. And I started the Patreon. And a bunch of people jumped in and helped get it funded so we could get the computer back online so I could get the streams going again. And that happened last summer, and it was the scariest, craziest time. But we got it done. And then when we finished that, because I was gonna wait until we got to at least 10,000 subscribers on YouTube to do a Patreon. I was like, I don't want to be that guy. But it was like there was no other way to get my computer fixed, so I just did it. I pulled the trigger, and then when we hit that goal, I was like, well, I don't want to just get rid of the Patreon. There's some people on here that like being patrons, that like being on it. I don't want to just pretend it never existed. So I was like, well, let's come up with a new stretch goal. And people have been complaining about wanting to see me play stuff that's not Magic for a while. So it just kind of made sense to do the camera thing. Haughty-Jin. We'll just get rid of the Haughty-Jin. It's fine. We can survive 2 hits from what he has on the board. And with what we've got coming eventually, not worried about it. That's fine. Not worried about it. No attacks. If he swings, he can't block. Anyway, appreciate all you raiders popping in. John is literally the best human on all of Twitch. And I am super appreciative. He graced me with a raid. Not even exaggerating. I'm not saying that sarcastically. I love John. He's good people. Sometimes when I'm in a real shit mood, he lifts my spirits just by being him. So I appreciate him. I appreciate the community that supports him. And I thank you guys for being here for the stream. We're trying some crazy Abzan skeleton / spirit tribal. Enchantment tribal, lots of stuff tribal. I don't know, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. What do we want to do here? This is going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We kill the Haughty-Jin. I think that's what we do. I think we do it like this. Kill the Haughty-Jin. Right, and then we go swing, swing, swing. We'll flip the Gobakhan. which will play another enchantment for free, which will give us another spirit, and then we'll end the turn. We'll solve the case of the Gateway Express and put counters on our dudes. And now I think it's just good game. I don't know what mono blue can do against that board. So, let's do it. PM me the link to the camera. Stop trying to spend all your money on me, gods. You're gonna make me feel bad. Seriously. Seriously. Alright. Well, that's about it. Game over. I did it all for the nookie. The nookie. So you could take that cookie. Stick it up, y'all. Stick it up, y'all. Stick it up, y'all. Stick it up, y'all. Literally half of my viewers just ran for the hills because of that. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck techs, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.